Good evening, Fernwood. My name is Neil, and thank you for joining me on my day by day journey through the entire series of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. Let's do a little bit of recapping. I'll start with a bigger story that has been building up over time, and that is George going off to his union meeting in Milwaukee against Martha's protests. And a thing there is that, first he's had a couple of death threats against him, which isn't something that came up last episode, but in the end of the last episode, it looks like he's gonna be meeting up with someone for some sexy times. And I haven't seen this episode, so I can't say that that's actually going to happen, but that was the implication. So I figure we will get some resolution on that and maybe build toward a whole new storyline. It might get ugly, and I'm not sure. A smaller storyline beat that happened last episode is that Kathy has sent Steve off to visit New York. They are not broken up like I thought, so I'm glad of that, but there's still some tension for Kathy, who doesn't think that she fits in New York City. And then there's the big thread of the last episode, which to me was some television that I don't think I'd seen before. Now, in case you missed 2 episodes ago, Leroy Fetters drowned in a bowl of soup after taking in too much whiskey and sleeping pills. And that was gross and a lot for me to watch. But then last episode, we get to, I think, some of the most sincere and human writing I've seen on this series to date. And that is really Blanche, which surprises me because I don't have a ton of love for Blanche either, but she really earned my respect in this episode with how open she was about her lack of feeling toward Leroy and his passing. And not to mention that there was a mortuary representative there trying to sell her the biggest deal, and she just didn't want to have anything to do with that. And I totally get that. Of course, Mary, in her complete and utter feelings of guilt, chose to pay for every expense and chose to up the ante on what was being offered. I don't know if that's going to be a topic of conversation, but I just really appreciated Blanche's honesty with her non feeling about the passing of her husband. So that is what we need to know to get into the March 5th, 1976 episode. If there are more facts that come up, I guess we'll just address them when they come. I believe it is time to start.
They sure give you big shots the best hotel suites, don't they?
Oh, well, this actually isn't my suite. See, my suite, there was a fellow that had a heart attack, and they didn't want to move it, so I'm going to move into that early in the morning.
Sure you will. What the hell, you seem like a nice old fella.
Well...
How come, you weren't surprised when you found me at the door?
Surprised? Well, why should I be surprised? Old Bud Delaplane, he told me to kind of leave the lock unlocked tonight, if you know what I mean.
Bud who?
Oh, come on, he's the only guy that would send you up here. That son of a gun.
Here we are, just the two of us.
You gonna leave the door unlocked?
Well, don't worry about it, hon. I have this thing about fires in hotel rooms.
Oh, well, that's good thinking.
Come on, sit down. We can get to know each other better.
Well, now, talking about getting to know each other better, I have a question for you.
How did a girl like me get started in this business?
Well, I'll be damned. Hey, now, you're not a mind reader or something, are you?
No. I just know a curious mind when I meet one. You see, I love curious people. And, hon, you are one of the most curious men I've ever met.
I'll be damned. You really mean that?
With all my heart. What's the matter? Are you getting nervous?
Nervous? Don't make me laugh.
My, you've got big hands. And I do like a man with big hands.
Well, my father had big hands. As a matter of fact, sometimes when I look at my hands, I think they're my father's hands, if you know what I mean.
No, I don't. It's really too deep for me. It's getting kind of warm in here, isn't it?
Warm? No. It's fine.
That's much better. You are the type of man that a woman feels she knows in just 10 minutes. And, speaking of 10 minutes, that's when I've got to get back to the Ramada Inn.
Oh, look now, don't you be late on my account. You just go right.
Well, I won't be more than a few minutes late. The Ramada Inn's just around the corner. And, I don't think this will take too long. Don't answer.
Hello? Oh, jeez. We were just talking about you. It's fun.
Hang up.
No, it's Sherry, the girl you sent over to see me. Yeah, what do you mean you didn't send her over to see me? What? What do you mean? She didn't know who'd you send? Wait a minute.
George.
No, he didn't. Listen here. No.
Okay, show my smile.
Oh.
Sweeney, you dirty son of a...
Just remember this when the union election comes up. Maybe you'll think twice about running for office. I see.
I'm sorry about this, hon. I really am. Well, a girl's got to get by somehow. And it's a jungle out there.
Whoa.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Hey, what are you doing? Huh?
Death is such a final thing, Tom. Do you ever think about that?
Mary, I can't even wake up. I mean, I have trouble thinking about brushing my teeth. What's the matter?
No, I'm serious. I mean, do you ever really think about death?
Is it Leroy?
I don't know, maybe that started it. Just started to think about a whole lot of things and... Tom, I want to die first. I know it may sound selfish, but I just think that you could handle things better here than I could.
Look, honey, do we have to talk about this, huh?
No, I mean, you could get over it sooner than I could. I mean, you'd just be much busier. You'd pay all the bills, you have your job, you could help raise Heather, and... I mean, I'd just sit around the house and turn to fat because I didn't have your laundry to do all day, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe you're right. Maybe it is easier for the man. Maybe it is.
Then you'd have to get married again.
Married, huh? Why don't we...
I mean, if you died, you'd want me to keep on living my life, wouldn't you?
Well, not necessarily. I mean...
Oh.
Well, I mean, yeah, sure. I would. Yeah, I would.
Well, see, you'd have to find someone to love and someone to take care of Heather. You know, it's very important for a child her age to have a mother. Promise me something, Tom.
Anything.
Not May. She's just not quite reliable. I mean, she's large, but she's just not quite reliable. let me see, we just have to think of someone who would be a good wife for you and a good mother for Heather. See, if it's someone like Eleanor Roosevelt, you know, I mean, she would make an excellent mother for Heather, and she'd make a fine wife for you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you can see the direction I'm thinking in for the two of you.
Yeah, I can.
It's very important to me that you have a good wife and that she have a good mother. Tom, don't let Heather forget me. Don't forget me, please.
I won't forget you, sweetheart. I mean, how can I forget you? I mean, I'd only get married because you asked me to, so Heather could have a mother to look after. It's the only reason.
No, but I'm really serious. I mean, I don't want you to be alone.
Oh,
I just want you to have someone to love you, that's all.
I know. It's really, really sweet of you, sweetheart. Really sweet. Very nice of you.
Tom,
What?
do you believe in life after death?
Well, no, I don't think much, no. I mean, I don't think there's much of anything after death. I just don't.
I mean, like if we died tomorrow, do you think that we'd end up together somewhere?
No. Not the way we are right now, I don't think. I mean, I don't think we'd be reunited anywhere in eternity or anything. But, well, I don't know. There's a kind of eternity, I believe in, a kind of eternity.
Like what?
Heather, you know, whatever happens to us, we'll be together in her. And someday in her kids and their kids.
It's so beautiful. I just hope she doesn't die before she has kids. I'm just so glad that you could think that kind of thought. It's a very comforting thought for me, especially if I get the job in the funeral home.
Job in a funeral? What do you mean funeral home?
Well, I was just thinking about funeral homes, you know. I mean, they don't know how to talk to bereaved people. It's just all business.
Well, honey, it's a business. I mean, people make a living planting other people, that's all.
I know, but they shouldn't make a living like that. There should be a new field of funeral people who are much less funereal that, you know, that opens up. Do you know what I mean? That's what they should have. You know what it should be like? It should be like they should have a big field where all the funereal people approach the bereaved people like a friend. You see, the way they do it now is just much too serious, and it's just, it should be sillier or something. I mean, it should be like, it could, you know, they could play games, you know.
Like games?
Yeah,
Games?
no, I don't mean games. I don't mean like pin the tail on the donkey. I just
Yeah.
mean, you know the expression, the game of life and death? Now, doesn't that sound better than my deepest condolences, or, you know, you have my sympathy in your time of bereavement, and maybe death isn't that much fun. I mean, you know, maybe it's not really like a game, but maybe it could be like a game, you know, maybe it could even be songs, you know. I don't know, I'm not sure. Or riddles. I mean, riddles is a perfect death game.
You know, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I know. I think I just have to think it through a little bit more.
But why?
I don't know. It's an area. Just an area. I just think maybe I can make some contribution in, you know.
Hey, look. If you want to fill your life up, honey, you can just... Hey, you can fill your life up right here, okay?
Hello?
Mrs. Hartman? Mary Hartman?
Yes?
Hi, this is Michael Linsky. I got your message about May.
Oh, Mike. Hi. I'm glad you called back.
Yeah, listen, Mrs. Hartman, I was wondering, are you sure May wants to see me again?
Oh, yes, of course she is. She's dying to see you. Or at least she's been working on it anyway.
But May and I haven't been in touch since the divorce.
Mike, let me tell you something. I think that May is still in love with you. I mean, you should hear the way she talks about you.
Did she say she wanted to see me again?
No, but she told me how hardworking you are and what a good sense of humor you have.
How come you're doing this?
Well, it's just that I think that she's still in love with you. And are you in a booth? You sound like you're in a booth. He's in a booth. Well, listen, Mike, why don't we all meet tomorrow? You May and, my husband and myself at the Capri Lounge.
Well, okay. I'll see you there.
Okay, Mike, you're not going to be sorry, okay? So why don't we make it about 7? Is that okay for you? Okay, bye.
Who was it?
Michael Linsky.
Really? I didn't know you'd gotten a hold of him.
It's all set. We are going to meet with May and Mike at the Capri Lounge tomorrow night. I mean, he is as dying to see her as she is to see him. I mean, all they wanted was someone to pull them together. I can't believe this. I mean, first Roberta and Janice, and now May and Mike. I mean, I know what I should do. I should go into the business of matchmaking.
I don't understand what you're doing.
What do you mean? I'm just trying to bring two people who belong together. What's wrong with that?
Well, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that, I don't know what it is, but somehow it has nothing to do with us, you know?
Sweetheart, there are some things in life that don't have to do with us. Not many. 5, maybe 6.
Hello? Martha? Martha? Yeah. Kathy! Is anybody home?
Oh, George! You're home sooner than I thought. How are you? How was your trip?
You don't know?
Well, how would I know? You just walked in.
You haven't heard anything?
I don't think so. All we've been talking about is the funeral.
What funeral? Whose funeral?
Leroy's. Don't you remember? I called you about it. George, what's the matter? Why are you so jumpy?
Well, I just don't like funerals.
Of course you don't. Nobody likes funerals. But I'm glad you're home in time for Leroy's.
As long as it's not my own.
What are you talking about, George?
Well,
I'm in here, Joe. A friend of yours dropped by. He's just in washing his hands.
Joe?
Joe Sweeney.
Oh, boy.
Hiya, George, old buddy. Welcome home. How was your trip?
Oh, Sweeney, sorry you can't stay longer.
Yeah, me too, but I'll be seeing you soon, George. And the
Sure,
missus.
sure. Goodbye, Sweeney.
Bye.
Oh, you'll be seeing me. You'll be seeing me. What was he talking to you about?
Oh, he's so nice. He really is so nice. I'm always so happy to see any of your friends, George. Well, I was trying to tell him
how upset I've been about your union work and you leaving me all alone. And he was very understanding. He said maybe I was right and that you weren't up to it with your bad heart and all.
Yeah, and then what did he say?
Then he showed me some pictures.
I can explain everything. It was a setup.
Well, they look like Polaroid candy.
They're trying to blackmail me. Those pictures don't mean anything, Martha. They mean nothing.
George, why are you carrying on like a lunatic over Joe Sweeney's family snapshots? Maybe he is right. Maybe the union work is too much of a strain on you. You're raving about blackmail and setups and... Oh, George, I think you had better stayed at home.
Martha, for the first time, I agree with you.
Oh, Daddy, I missed you so much. I hate to be separated from you, even for a single night.
Family snapshots. It was a warning.
A warning? Oh, what kind of a warning? Oh, yes, George. That union work is too much of a strain for you. Goodness, talking about blackmail and setups and all those things. Who do you think you are, anyway? Edward J. Robinson?
We got some more real talk there. That scene with Mary talking about her passing. That's as sincere as it gets, you know? I feel like even nowadays, you know, you might see something like that, but you definitely not in the 70s. That's crazy talk for the 70s. Mary has set up May with her old husband Mike. I don't know how that's going to work out. I'm kind of a little bit concerned. And then the other big story is, of course, George. Now, George didn't hire the woman to come to his hotel room, but he was expecting her and he did let her in. While she was there, he got a bit skittish and didn't seem to want to go through with anything. And of course, it turns around and becomes photographs. So, a lot less violent than a bomb, but you know, we've had enough death in this show for a little while. So that is the Friday, March 5th, 1976 episode of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. Thank you for coming along, and we will see you next week in Fernwood.